Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Kevin's Hobby Showcase. I'm, of course, Kevin. You may have also seen me on Tabletop Jones Productions, where John and I are the two idiots playing board games. And, well, today, it's the second weekend of the month, and we're talking comics again. Yep, that we are. Last month, I did start off with a little segment I want to do right now, basically covering the early years of Marvel Comics. Now, I'm trying to figure out where I put it. So now, basically, what I've been doing, because there's no way I'm going to be able to collect those issues from basically for like back from like the 1960s, 70s. It's way out of my price range, but luckily, Marvel Comics has put out stuff like this, epic collections, and let me tell you something. These things are golden. I love collecting these things. It's let me take a quick look. All right, they're about $40 each. Sometimes you can get them cheaper. I know I usually order, well, when I was able to order. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to in a while. From Midtown Comics in Manhattan, and on time to time they'll have them less money. Sometimes just a little bit, sometimes more, depending on which one it is. Also, I go on Amazon, and it's the same thing. Sometimes it's usually a little bit less. Sometimes they'll have them on sale too, and you can pick up a bunch. Matter of fact, my kids, they asked me what I wanted for Christmas. I gave them links to three of them, and they brought down the price so low they ordered all three of them for me. I was so ecstatic. But anyway, yeah. So for most of us, let's face it, who have never read those issues, or maybe some of us who did read those issues but don't have the comics anymore. These are great to get to kind of like relive it, or to just read it for the first time. And I find it very interesting with the older stuff. But before I get into that, so I just want to say I have started. This is very new. I have started a Discord for this. I will share the link in the description of this video, and for those of you watching on Patreon, I will share the link, in the little write-up that they let me do, and so yeah, it's so it's basically what I want to do is to just let's have a discussion, but let's keep it calm, let's keep it in the realms of good taste. Let's not start going off on each other, because I know how sometimes if you're really really into it, you can get a little heated. But let's remember, this is a hobby, this is fun. We all enjoy these. We all enjoy these comics. We always have. So let's just keep it that way. Keep it light. Keep it something to enjoy, not something that to ridicule. All right. So anyway, let's get into this. So last month I did cover Spider-Man in the early years. This time it's going to be the Fantastic Four. So so this trade, which is the first volume, is actually called World's Greatest Comic Magazine. And the reason why I'm sure that they did that is because that's what they used to put on the cover of every single issue. They used to say right on the top, World's Greatest Comic Magazine. So why not, I guess, right? So anyway, it does have issues 1 through 18 of the very, very first one, the very, very first volume from back in the 1960s. Matter of fact, let me just do a little check. Let's see where. 1961 to 63. That's the years that this covers. So, what is really good about this trade in these issues? Well, it's, of course, number one, you get the origin story of the Fantastic Four. Sorry, hold on a second. We got to do this because I keep doing that. Up there, that is where I'm going to be putting, because I took pictures of, I'm kind of jumping ahead. Get a little too excited when I'm talking about comics. So yeah, I'm going to be, in the these epic collections. One of the things I really like that they do is before what each issue is in there. They actually have the cover of the issue. So yeah, proud of myself. Usually I almost say album cover. Well, anyway, they have the cover of the issue. So I want to put it there. Cover all that clutter in the back. Sorry about that. It's there's certain things about here that I still don't have control over. Well, anyway, so first so it does cover the origin story of the Fantastic Four. Shows you the Baxter Building, their headquarters, and then of course as always, it's the interactions between the four of them, because it's like if I remember correctly, I had once read a trade where it was basically Nick Fury and the Howling Commandos. Now this is supposed to take place during World War II, and Reed Richards did make an appearance there, so it kind of shows how much older he is than the rest of them. So it's you got, and of course, you got Reed Richards, you got Susan Storm, you got Johnny Storm, and you got Ben Grimm. And and of course, in these issues you start to see the the relationship blossom between Reed Richards and Susan Storm, who then of course they get married in the future, and she becomes Susan Richards. As far now with Johnny Storm, you get to see him trying to basically kind of coming to grips with being a superhero and a teenager, and kind of trying to deal with that, dealing with dating while being a superhero, and all that. Forget the name of the one that they always have him dating. I didn't look through it to find that, but there is one. I think it was Dorkins. I think is the last name. I forget. I don't want to misquote it. So anyway, yeah. Actually, you know what? If anybody knows, if anybody remembers, you put it in the chat or put it in a Discord. And also we see Ben Grimm coming to grips, or at least trying to come to grips with what he's become. Because first you see, he becomes basically, looks like a lumpy lumpy orange rock, basically. No real definition. They didn't really start putting that definition in until much later. I don't even think they did it at the end of these 18 issues. I think it was further back that actually started happening. I could be wrong, and I don't mind being being corrected if I'm wrong. But also it's like, for basically, aside from their personal relationships with each other, because it's like, because with Ben Grimm it's not only just him coming to grips, it's also I wouldn't even call it animosity, but how the Human Torch is always messing with him, and he's always kind of like releasing his rage on the Human Torch, and then of course the confrontations between him and Reed because he wants to be cured, and Reed Richards, let's face it, he doesn't know how, even though he won't admit it. Well, kind of sort of admits it, but not fully. He always says he'll figure it out, but he never really does. But also, in these issues is the introduction to a lot of classic villains. I say a lot, but really it's like there was one in particular that has a lot of reappearances. But let's go through. So in first issue, I believe it was the Mole Man, with of course with the monsters from Monster Island. So they brought in, they said he was like the first one. I know he has, he comes back a lot in other issues, and and also as far as the Mole Man goes, nice shout out to the MCU for for bringing him in their first Fantastic Four movie. Because all those movies for the Fantastic Four, what do we usually see? We usually saw Doctor Doom, which does appear in this trade many times. But anyway, before we get to him, so it's and a matter of fact, that film First Steps actually kind of did a good service towards, I guess you could call it like the Fantastic Four Rogues Gallery, because it did mention a number of villains that that basically have never even been mentioned in the other Fantastic Four movies. Not even like a thought. It was always Doctor Doom, and that was it. So of course, like I said, the Mole Man, and right after that, you get the Skrulls. The first, basically the first like a first introduction to one of the major alien races that Earth would have to deal with, or at least the heroes of Earth would have to deal with, and so. But with something with them was interesting. He was able to kind of trick them into turning themselves into cows, and then they just stayed as cows. It was like they believed they were cows, which was really, really weird, because I know in future episodes when they were doing, I forget which Marvel event it was, but they actually covered some people who gained powers because they ate them, basically. They believed they were cows, they were slaughtered for the meat, and people didn't know that they were eating Skrulls, not knock out. They weren't eating beef; they were eating Skrulls, which is kind of gross. But I mean, how that's actually not a bad way to describe someone getting superpowers. It's kind of. I mean, whoever came up with that. I mean, I guess they really dove back into the Marvel lore and said, let's find a nice, interesting way to give someone powers. Oh, here we go. Here's a good one. So I mean, I kind of give. I mean, even though it is kind of gross, I kind of like say, yeah, it's actually not a bad idea. But also, you have Red Ghost, and the Super Apes, which did get a mention. Not even so much a mention, but they actually did. They didn't show the Red Ghost, but they did show them fighting one or two of the apes, which I thought was pretty cool. Because like I said, the other villains never really got any time in any of the movies that have been made. I mean, not the two that were made. There was two that were made back in the '90s, I believe. Then there was the one that came after that most people didn't really like, and I'll admit I haven't seen because I didn't like what the what the reviews were. I didn't like that they changed a lot of the story, and so when this one came out, and then they started, naming all those things, sitting in the movie theater going, oh, cool to name that one, oh, cool to mention that one. It's so yeah, I was enjoying it. I guess you could say I was geeking out. But then and then of course they had the appearance of Namor. I don't believe it was his first appearance in Marvel Comics, but with his appearance in the Fantastic Four, you then saw how he was falling in love with Susan Storm and was trying to basically take him away from Reed Richards. So I guess it started like that little love triangle that they constantly revisited over and over and over again. And actually, in a couple of kind of like what if stories, they had it. They did have it where she left Reed for for Namor. I remember one in particular. I wish I could remember the name of the actual series because it was kind of like a what if series. Like it wasn't like the normal. It wasn't like from the I guess you could say Fantastic Four canon, and it had it where she left Reed for Namor and then wound up leaving Namor to come back because when the surface world was in trouble, Namor didn't care. Which was I wish I could remember the name of it. I don't remember exactly the name of it. Oh, and if anybody's hearing that, we're having like gale force winds outside, so just yeah, everything's okay. But anyway, let's talk Doctor Doom because Doctor Doom makes an appearance in a number of the issues that's contained in this trade, and you basically see like the growing animosity between him and Reed Richards. The fact that he blames Richards for everything that went wrong with him, and of course, Reed basically saying, like kind of like apologetic, but also saying, "Listen, it wasn't me. It wasn't me that forced you to to turn yourself into the grotesque thing that you are right now." But but it basically started like a very iconic villain, which, as we all know right now, is about to happen in the MCU. Which I mean, for everybody, I'm just gonna tell you right now, I can't wait for Avengers Doomsday. I cannot. I was just a little kind of hoping that they would have had more than just an end credit scene in Fantastic Four First Steps with Doctor Doom. I kind of wish that they did a little bit more. Like, I don't know. But I guess with what the story that they're trying to tell, it just didn't fit. I guess But let's face it, with Marvel Comics, there's a lot of ways you can tell a story and still kind of sort of keep it to the like keep it true to the characters and all that. But anyway, so I do hope that anybody who can get these trades can actually, and if you feel like you would enjoy it, I really do wish that that you actually are able to read it, get it, read it, enjoy it. I mean, I love comics. I think that's very evident with some of the videos that I put out so far. I mean, I'll be honest with you. It's like right now my current financial situation doesn't allow me to still collect them, and I have vowed to myself that when my financial status improves, that I will, basically, with everything that I do collect, I will, fill in the gaps, fill in this nice long gap because it's been about a year since I've been able to actually get anything. But you know what, my financial troubles aren't going to be forever. Eventually a lot of it will end. Eventually all of it will end, and I will be able to fully have all the knowledge in Marvel, in the Marvel Kingdom, or whatever they want to call it. To I'll have all the knowledge that I could have to to make these videos as good as I can make them. And I do hope that that you enjoyed this video. I'm gonna end it right here. So yeah, so like I said, I have the Discord. I'm gonna put the link in the description. So this way, anybody who would like to join up on it can join up on it. Join in the discussion. Just even if you, you just want to, just say a few things, whether it be directly to me or if anybody else who joins the server. I do know that one of you out there did think it was a great idea. I remember. Here, excuse me. You did express that I think you said in your 60s, and you didn't really have too many people to talk to, especially about comics. And so this is what I'm going to say is that as far as monitoring the Discord, I'm not going to be on it every day. I will try to get on it hopefully by Wednesdays every week. I will try to make an effort to get on it by Wednesdays to see if there's any comments that are straight to me, or just to see if there's any comments that need to be addressed. And I will also try to get it done, be on it either on Saturday, although Saturdays is when I usually do my videos, so either Saturdays or Sundays. I will do my best to, respond to any comments that any of you may have, or at the very least, join in on the conversation that any of you may be starting. And, hopefully just want to make this a nice little community that we can, come together and talk about comics. Well, I have this one specifically. It says Marvel the early years, so we'll we'll just as long as I'm keeping this one up, I'll keep this going. But if I come up with something else, I'll make a different one, and then we can just go from there. It's just I'm new to Discord, so I'm just gonna just kind of play it, just kind of take it little by little, step by step, day by day, week by week, and just learn as I go. All right. So anyway, let me move this over a bit. All right. So anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you had a good time. Hope that this sparks you to have a nice little conversation, either with me or with anybody about comics. It's a really good hobby to have. So anyway, like, subscribe, and share. I share this video as much as possible, especially to anybody else that likes comics and would love to be part of a community to just talk about comics. Also, please go to Tabletop Jones Productions and do the same there. Like, subscribe, and share. Sorry, I stumble on that so many times. This is the best way to support these channels. As you know, YouTube subscription costs $0. So yeah, this is the best way to support support me, support my friend John, and support the channels. We're trying to reach as many people as possible and hopefully entertain. All right, because we're not influencers. I think we're more entertainers than influencers. So anyway, again, thank you very much for watching. You take care of yourselves. Have a great day, and I will see you again. And let's talk about comics. All right, take care.